What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Tekken 8 Beginner's Guide. Today we're looking at Jun Kazama. Really cool character, really interesting, very strong as well. I think she's an amazing character for newcomers, mainly just because of how versatile she is. She's so strong, she can be played in so many different ways. If you want to play like ultra defensive, you know, using parries, using good keep outs, she's very strong at that. If you want to play like in your face, like mashing lots of flowcharts, lots of strings, like pressuring your opponent, making them feel scared, she has a lot of options for that as well. She can really just be played in like so many different ways, which is why I think she's so great for beginners. She's also relatively simple, doesn't have any particularly high execution, very easy character to understand. So overall, I think she's like a great pick if you are new. I think you should consider picking her up. You'll get a lot of value out of her. Really quick, as always, this beginner's guide is meant specifically for new players. All you really have to know to watch this guide is just the basics of Tekken. If you don't know that, I have a full guide going over all the basics in the description below. And you have to know the Tekken notation, because I am going to be referring to moves by the numbers. But besides that, that's all you really need to know. So, Jun is pretty interesting because she has some unique mechanics. Mainly, a lot of her moves, as you can see, make her lose health. That's kind of how she's balanced, because she has some really insane options, but they're kind of balanced around her taking damage. Like her 10-frame punish does 36 damage. That's the highest damaging 10-frame punish in the game. And at the wall, this actually does like 60 damage from a 10-frame punish. Pretty ridiculous, right? But as you can see, she loses a good chunk of health. So that's kind of like the how they balanced it. So a lot of her attacks make her take damage. It's all recoverable, so you can always recover it back. And what's really interesting about this is that she's one of the only characters in the game who can actually recover health through a stance. So if we hold back 1+2, it's hard to show because the training mode auto refills HP, but whenever you have any recoverable health in a real match, if you hold if you hold back 1+2 at any time, you can enter this stance where you just recover health. You just keep recovering all of your gray health. Now, this is really strong because what this does is it forces your opponent to approach. Which is why I said she has great defensive options, because if you don't want to be the one going in, if you just want to be playing defensive and waiting for your opponent to make a mistake, let's say your opponent lands a combo on you and you have like a ton of recoverable health. If you just like back off and press back 1+2 and start recovering, your opponent is going to want to go in, right? They're not going to want to let you just heal for free. Why would they? So, and that's when we get into a lot of like cool traps, like out of this this is technically a stance, back 1+2. We can press 1 for like a really good launcher that's great for keep out. So she has lots of cool options like that. I'm going to talk about the stances later, so don't worry, but just, yeah, the basic idea of Jun is, June, I know people get mad when I call her Jun, is that, yeah, recoverable health, she can heal at any time, which forces approaches, which is really strong, in my opinion. But let's talk about some of her basic pokes and basic string options. So she has very good poking, in my opinion. Very good poking. So standard jab, just by pressing 1. We get a ton of follow-ups off of this, but as always, the jab is used to kind of like steal your turn and to kind of like keep your pressure going. This is like how you start pressure. Jabs are always +1 in this game. They're usually your fastest option. So nice move to throw out, get plus frames, and you can start your aggression. In terms of other strings, jabs are high, so they can be ducked. So usually we mix them up with down forward 1. Down forward 1, she has a pretty standard down forward 1. The range isn't amazing, but can still be used as like a good mid check if you think your opponent's going to duck. Only -3, which is actually pretty decent. She has a couple follow-ups off of the down forward 1. You can do 2, which is a high, -4. Not very good in my opinion. I think generally you'll just want to be using the down forward 1 by itself as like just a good mid poke. Keep your opponent guessing, right? You can also do down forward 1-1. Not very good. It's a mid, but it's -11, so I wouldn't recommend it. So just use the down forward 1 by itself. These are just moves that you're going to be using like in your neutral, just to like kind of like chip away at your opponents and just like poke them out. 1-1 is like one I really like to use a lot. So like your jab, occasionally mix in the 1-1. This is a mid check, only -1. That's very strong. Usually when you use a high mid string, you have to like commit. You have to do like you'll be like -6, you'll lose your turn. But at -1, you're basically still at neutral. Like nothing's really going to change. So this is a 1-1 is an excellent move, I have to say. Excellent move to use. You also have other ones, so you can do 1-1-1 if you press 1 really quickly. What's interesting about this, so this is like a counter hit. So if the second one, so you just do 1-1, if the second one is actually a counter hit, so if they press a button, everything else becomes guaranteed. So I'll show you really quick here. So if you just do 1-1 and you know they're mashing buttons, you can keep doing the other one. So 1-1-1, and you get this little, you just keep mashing 1. and you get a little follow-up that does pretty decent damage. So keep that in mind. He sets a block immediately after, so we need to only hit the second one. But as you can see, it's all guaranteed on counter hits. So good string to throw in. It's also safe. So theoretically, if you're in low level and your opponent doesn't know how to duck, you could just keep mashing 1 like this. Only -4. It's high, so good players will duck it, but it's still safe. A lot of her poking is just like very, very safe. You can just get away with a lot of this stuff using it in neutral. So pretty good. It is also interruptible. So if you do the 1-1-1-1 string, after the second one, they can interrupt you. So be careful against some very mashy players. They won't let you get away with this. So generally, you just want to be using just the basic 1-1, unless you make like a hard read. So recap, or good poking, jab, use jab, 1-1 as a mid check, down forward 1. Pretty good options. We have 1-3 is actually very, very decent. Having pokes like this are always really good, especially for like last hit situations. So if like your opponent's scared and you're just jabbing and you're like, you just need a little bit more health to win the round. 1-3, very quick. Most people won't be expecting it. Turn counter hit off, but most people won't be expecting this. It's not guaranteed or anything, but it's nice to have. Having an option like this is always really useful for your neutral game. So keep that in mind. Another quick string is 1-2. It's a high, which generally on these guides, I always talk about high highs being very bad. But what's cool about this is you can cancel it into a sidestep. So 1-1 and then immediately sidestep. You get +1 on block, which is pretty good considering June has some really good pressure options out of sidestep, specifically 4. I'll talk about this move in a bit, but if you just do 1-2, sidestep 4, this is an amazing string. +6. Like, this is just an amazing setup you can just use. Like, very strong option. The 4, sidestep 4, again, I'll talk about it later, is also a heat engager. So you get some cheeky little setups off of that you can go for if your opponent doesn't know how to beat it. 2-1, good high mid string. -6, completely safe on block. We have a follow-up that's actually really cool, especially in low level. So 2-1, 1+2. As you can see here, +2 on block. Again, it's a high, so your opponent can duck it and launch you if they know what they're doing. But in low level, a lot of people won't know what they're doing, and you can abuse this a lot. Good knockback as well. So what's really cool about this is it's good for getting your opponent to the wall, right? If you're just like poking, using all the pokes I've been showing you, throw this out. Very, very good knockback. So something worth noting. I mentioned her down forward 1 already. It's pretty decent, kind of bad range, but whatever. It's not the greatest. Another really good mid poke that I like to use on her is the down back 1. So as you can see, pretty decent range, mid, safe on block, just like a standard mid to throw out. What's cool about this is if it does hit, so this is only on hit, you get a guaranteed like 40 damage with down back 1-1, 1+2. So 1-1, 1+2. 45 damage. That's guaranteed off of a safe mid poke. Now, you do kind of have to know for sure that the down back 1 is going to hit before you go for this, because if you do this string on block, it's like minus and your opponent can punish you pretty heavily. But if you know your opponent's going to run into you, down back 1, you can also just, what I like to do is you can just mash 1+2 to get the whole thing. So just down back 1, 1+2, 1+2, just so you don't have to worry about the 1-1, 1+2. It's just like a simpler way to do it, but it's the same thing overall. So you can just do down back 1, 1-1, 1+2, or just smash 1+2, either way. 45 damage. Very nice damage off of a -8 move, so pretty decent. This is also her 15-frame Punisher, which I'll get to later. So as you're noticing here, she has very good poking options and very safe poking options. A lot of her stuff is incredibly safe, doesn't take major risks, pokes you out in the neutral. She has good low pokes as well. They're also very safe. Down back 3. Look at this move. Look how fast this is. +2 on hits, only -12 on block, so not launch punishable. Relatively safe. Like, this is really, so like, if you're just poking your opponent out, mix in a low. Get through their standing guard. Like, what's not to like? This is a really cool option. You also have an option with more range with down back 2. This also high crushes, so if you know your opponent's going to like master jab or something, you can use this, throw it out to beat highs. So yeah, these are going to be your main lows you're using in neutral. But like, again, her poking is just so strong. She has so many good options. So many good options. If you know your opponent's going to press buttons, we have 4. This is a good move for like frame traps. So on round start, if you know your opponent likes to mash buttons, throw out 4, 12 frames. A lot of her plus moves, which we'll talk about later, you can like immediately press 4 after as like a little gimmicky setup. So for example, sidestep 3 I mentioned a little bit earlier. Or sorry, sidestep 4 gives, if we put him on block and then we set him to punish, So we'll just say he immediately presses like a jab or something. If we do sidestep 4, +6 on block, and then immediately press 4, we get a guaranteed counter hit if they press any buttons. And the 4, it no longer launches like it did in previous games. Magic 4, all these 4s used to launch in Tekken 7, but on counter hit now, they give you a guaranteed follow-up with 3+4. So you get a guaranteed 3+4, 48 damage. It's not a combo, but it's still a very, very high amount of damage for such a safe move. And again, this move's completely safe on block. So I'd say you can use this move quite a bit, especially if you know your opponent's going to press. One of your better, safer counter hit options, in my opinion. Really quick, if you guys are enjoying this guide and want to see more guides like it, please consider subscribing to support the channel. Only about 9% of the people who watch my videos are subscribed, so it really goes a long way. I'm going to have way more beginner's guides like this going over every single character in the game. Eventually, I'll be doing advanced stuff, so I'll be covering more in-depth details on June if you are interested in that. And I'm working on way more content for beginner players. It's free to do, and you can always change your mind later. Anyway, back to the video. So again, I just like, it's going to be overwhelming. I'm going over a lot of moves, but these are like the moves you want to use in general when you're like trying to approach and trying to be a little bit more aggressive. Down forward 3. This is a great move. Only -8. It's homing, safe on block, and gives knockdown on hits. This is like a very nice power made you can throw around. In low level, a lot of people won't be sidestepping a lot, but if they do, I like to throw this out. So like I'll mix up my you can mix up like your lows, your low pokes, your down back 3 with your down forward 3 as like a good nice safe 50-50. Good, you get yeah, good knockback, safe on block. Very cool move. Very, very cool move. Speaking of tracking, you also have forward 4. This move is pretty underrated in my opinion. A lot of people aren't talking about it. Very good move to throw out in neutral. +3 on block. So again, we're talking about like frame traps. She gets so many plus frames. So if you do this and immediately press 4, you guaranteed a counter hit. So that's like a cheeky little setup you guys can go for in low level. High, so it can be ducked, but that's its only weakness really. This tracks. It tracks very, very well. +3 on block, so still your turn. You can pretty much go into whatever you want. And on regular hit, it gives you +13, which means we get guaranteed follow-ups. We get a guaranteed 1+2. For 39 damage if you want to go into heat. I believe you can also do, is this 13 frames? No. Okay, so yeah, generally I think there's another option you can go for, but you always want to do the 1+2 to go into heat in my opinion. So say literally like there's the only risk is it being ducked, but if they don't duck it, if it hits, guaranteed 1+2, 40 damage and you go into heat. Like, what's not to like? Very, very great move to use for sure. When people don't know what they're doing. Down 4-4. This is a pretty cool low-high string. Only -9, and it will interrupt. So if your opponent blocks the first hit and tries to do like a quick punish, it will interrupt that. They have to actually just stay down to punish it. So more like quick, safe moves to harass your opponent within your face. Like you're noticing, she just has like so many great poke options to use. So many great poke options. So yeah, we have forward 1+2. This is an amazing move to start your aggression. So like, let's say, we're going to talk about the defensive options later, but let's say you're just like, you've been playing relatively safe, just like keep out, and you're like, okay, you know what, time's running low, I want to start my aggression. Forward 1+2, +6 on block. Mid, chip damage, you also take a little bit of damage, but that's no big deal. +6 on block, you can pretty much do whatever you want after this. If your opponent presses anything, they'll get counter hit. So, amazing move to start your aggression. A move that's kind of similar is forward 1+2. So not forward 1+2, just one forward 1+2. It's a very quick move, 12 frames. +2 on block. So it gives you +2 on block. And on hits, this is actually really, really weird move. Doesn't do any damage. So you're like, okay, why would I use this? It gives you +26, which very good plus frames, right? And it automatically transitions you into her healing stance, which was back 1+2. So on hit, +26, and you can get a lot of really cool setups out of this. Like, if they press anything after this, like even if they press a jab, and you just press 2, or sorry, you just press 1, you get a guaranteed launch. So good little setup you can use against bad players who don't know what they're doing. Hit this move, they press anything, your 1 will beat it, and you'll get a full launch. So nice little gimmicky option there. Something it's like low level, right? Like a lot of people aren't going to know what they're doing, so you get some cool options here. Up 2, oops. This is a cool move because this is actually what goes into one of her stances. I'm going to touch on stances a little bit later probably, but this is a weird move because this is how you go into her stance, but it's also an attack. So tracks, it's a high, +6 on block. Isn't that great? But what's cool about this is it automatically takes you into a very unique stance. So after this, you get some really cool options. So +6, your opponent has to take a mix-up. And what do we get out of this? We get some really cool mix-ups. So up 2, 4, 2, or I believe it's a 4-1. Yeah. Up 2, 4-1. This is her hell sweep. This is a low that's guaranteed. You'll get a lot of mileage out of this in low level. Look at this damage, like 36 damage off of a low. That's nothing to scoff at there. Very, very strong low. Gives a knockdown as well. So that's going to be your low mix-up off of this stance. We get access to 2, which is a full launcher. It is -13, but if your opponent is expecting the... we got to set him to standing. If your opponent is expecting the low, you can use this option, get a full combo started. I'll touch on combos a little bit later, but that's your mid option. 3 is a fully safe heat engager. Go into heat. So, like, as you can see, off of the up 2, which again is plus on block, they have to take the mix-up. You have a lot of really cool mix-up options. So her aggression is so strong. Like, combine this with like her pokes, all of her plus on move block, all of her plus on block moves. Like, so many cool options like this. So many cool options. The sidestep 3, sidestep 4. I keep calling it sidestep 3. The sidestep 4, like, this is such an insanely strong move. +6 on block, and it's a heat engager, and it does chip damage, right? Oh no, it's only chip damage in heat, but this is just like such a very quick. This is like one of her main pressure moves to get your stuff started. Again, if they press anything, you can immediately 4 for big damage. Use this move a lot. Very, very important part of her neutral, in my opinion. Sidestep 4. Use this a lot. Seriously, like, it's so good. It's so incredibly strong. I mentioned up to the stances. Forward 3 + 4 is a great move for forward 2 + 3 is a great move for new players, as this has an automatic parry. So if you just do forward 2 + 3, it's a kick, neutral, and block, completely safe. But if your opponent presses any punch at all, so I'll show you really quick. If we set him to punish and then immediately jab, we jab him. As you can see there, it's a built-in parry if they press any punch. So 1 or 2, it doesn't work on kicks, but any punch, we get a full combo. So if you know your opponent's going to jab, you can get a full combo just from them jabbing, which is supposed to be a safe option. Really, really cool option that June has here. Really cool. Yeah, so keep that in mind. So these are, like, I've been talking about her more aggressive, like, poke options, but what about her defense? What if you want to play defensively? I mentioned the healing, the back 1 + 2, which is really, really cool. She has great keep out, very good keep out. Down forward 2. This is like a standard, kind of similar to Paul's, a little bit worse, mainly just because it's doesn't really high crush, and it is -12, so unsafe on block. But I mean, this is amazing keep out. If you know your opponent is going to run into you, which in a low level a lot of players will, you can just use this as they run into you, and you get a full combo, you get big damage. Very, very good keep out tool. A very nice keep out tool. It is 16 frames, so a little bit slower than the standard 15 frame, and that will be one of her weaknesses. She doesn't actually have a 15 frame full launcher, which I'll talk about her punishment later, but very strong move to use. A lot of players in low level won't even punish this. Even stronger move, in my opinion, is back 3. Now, this move is crazy. Similar to Asuka's. Full launcher, amazing for keep out, amazing for keep out. And look how far she rolls back. So it's -19, right? You think, oh, it's punishable. But she rolls back so far. Almost no characters are going to be able to launch you for this. It's basically just becomes safe, especially for people who don't know what they're doing. So this is amazing for keep out. Better than down forward 2, in my opinion. If you think they're going to run into you, you can, like, jab, pressure them. Let's say you're, like, jabbing, you use a sidestep 4, back 3 to catch them pressing. You get a full combo. Off of the back 3, I believe you press 1 + 2 to start the combo. So you just, as soon as you see it's hit, press 1 + 2 and you get your full combo. This is just such a strong move. Such a strong move. You can also press the 1 + 2 immediately on block. So, or I believe it's 2, but 1 + 2 works too. So if they press, there's a cool, like, frame trap you can go for. If you back 3 and they press anything, so anything at all. So he's just jabbing, which again, safe option. Back 3, they jab, you press 2, and you get a big punish. You catch them pressing any buttons. So very popular frame trap in low level. Super strong, like super strong option. What else? Forward 2. This seems like a normal risky launcher, right? Like you get launcher, oops, you get a combo. Unsafe on block, right? Like just seems like a pretty standard move. But what's cool about this is if your opponent blocks it and we press 1+2, it becomes -9. -9, like safe on block. Very awesome option to use. So like if you see that the first hit doesn't hit, you can just go into 1+2. Completely safe on block. Completely safe on block. And again, if you do hit the forward 2, it's a launcher into your combos. Well, we can also cancel the forward 2 into a crouch. So if you press forward 2 and you know it's not going to hit, you can just hold down and immediately crouch and get access to some of your while-standing moves. So awesome option here. Really awesome option. Another launcher that people like is down 1+2. This is completely safe. So safe on block, only -9. Big range. Like look at this range. Chip damage, you also take damage, but you know, that's the price you pay on this character. And really awesome move. Has some high crushing too. Like you'd be surprised. Like look at this. I'm actually surprised at how much this. You basically have full. If you just like do anything, see if we can down forward 1 and then immediately press it. Yeah, so I'm minus, but if he jabs and we immediately down 1+2, this is an amazing setup for low level. If you use something that's minus, so down forward 1, I'm -3. It should be his turn. He jabs, and I just mash down forward 1+2, and it beats jab. So very good high crushing launcher. I'd suggest using this one a lot. It's very strong in my opinion. We have some other like more weird ones. While standing 2. This is actually this is only a counter hit launcher, but it's a very strong option on counter hit. Gives a full launch, completely safe on block. Something you can use out of crouching. Down 3+4. This is a very weird one. It's a low high, but it doesn't launch on normal hit. Like if the first hit hits, they can just block the second hit. But good for keep out. If it's just the second hit that hits, as you can see, it's like a low high. If just the high version hits, you get a full combo. And on counter hit, it becomes a full normal combo. Completely evades all lows, obviously because she jumps in the air. So pretty cool option there. Again, safe on block, so you can kind of use it pretty freely, honestly. It's a very nice move. As always, I'll go over a quick sample combo that's really good for beginners. She does have some pretty advanced combos, so you can just look up June combo guide online, and there's like tons of really cool options. But I always recommend using sample combos if you're brand new, just to get some very easy, basic damaging ones. So this one works off of any launcher, so we can just start with down forward 2. So as you can see at the top, it just says you down forward 2, which is just the launcher I'm choosing. Down forward 2, up forward 4, 3. Down forward 2, up forward 4, 3. Automatically you get the bound, and then you hold forward, and you press 2, forward 3, 2, 1+2. So I'll just show you how it should look. There we go. Very simple, very easy to do. You shouldn't really be struggling with this one much at all, unless you're like brand new. But you get decent damage. If you just start it with this, you can just not do the down forward 2 and just start it with the up forward 2. That works as well. You get a little bit more damage because of scaling, but just like a very basic sample combo for you guys to learn. And again, there's really good options. People always ask me like simple combos for beginners. The sample combo tool is your best friend here. Like if you don't want to do advanced stuff, a lot of this stuff just works fine, and they're very easy to do. So you can go through there if you're interested in some more stuff like that, which is good for beginners, I think. And then she has, in terms of like counter hit launchers, I've mentioned a couple of them already. She has very good tools if your opponent likes to press buttons. One that I really like is forward 2. So by itself, this is a -12 move, but we can go into stance, or we can just press 2. So if you just do forward 2, 2, as you can see, if they press any button, counter hit launch, and you get your full damage. Awesome move to go for. And when they are expecting that, because I believe the counter hit one, if you do forward 2, 2, it's -13, so you can't be punished for this. But if you just do the first forward 2, or the first forward 2, and hold forward, you go into another one of her stances at +1, and you get a ton of cool mix-up options. So forward 2, hold forward, +1, go into another one of her stances, and we have a couple great options out of this stance. If you know your opponent will mash, we use 2, which is a power crush move. It's unsafe, but if you know they're going to press, it'll just completely go through anything they do. Pretty strong option. 1 is a very strong low, so very strong move here. By the way, you can also go into this stance just by pressing forward 3+4, if you just want to go into it by itself, but normally I like to just forward 2, hold forward to get into it. But yeah, out of this, 1 is a very, very good low, in my opinion. Pretty good to use. 4 is a +4 on block high that tracks. And I believe 3 is just a kick with a good knockback. So those are going to be your main options off of this. Not the greatest stance in the world, but something worth noting for sure. So those are like her main options, and like you're seeing, like she just has so many cool mix-ups, amazing poking, amazing keep out with like back 3, down forward 2. You can really play her in any way you want. And just to circle back to, I mentioned at the beginning, her back 1+2 stance. I mentioned earlier, we press 1, we get a great launcher. So if this is amazing for keep out. So if you know your opponent likes to press, or like, because they see you're recovering health, they're gonna run in, right? So if they run in, press 1, get a full launch. But what's also cool is we can transition into all of her other stances I mentioned from this. So if we press so back 1+2 and then 1+2 again, we do the high that transitions her into the stance I mentioned earlier. Then we can do the health sweep I mentioned. We can do the launcher. +6, and they have to eat the mix-up. So this is the same one I mentioned earlier. If you hold forward, you'll go into the stance I just mentioned now, which is the forward 3+4 option, which is pretty cool. So like tons of mix-ups off of this, tons of mix-ups. You can do so much off of this. You can also cancel it into a sidestep. So you can, if you just want to, the way I like to play her is like I like to play very defensively using my keep out. So just like get them to approach with this. You can sidestep to cancel it really quickly. You can launch them. Some really, really cool options here. Some really cool options. Really quick, I'll talk about June while she's in heat. So for starters, her moves that would normally take up HP no longer, like they don't cost any HP while you're in heat, which is like pretty cool thing. Her forward 1+2 becomes empowered, way more range, better frames, all that's good stuff. Takes up a bit of your meter though. And her heat smash is actually very interesting. A lot of people don't know about this. Look at this heat. Look at, as you can see in the top left, it gives you the heal effect that you normally get just from using heat engagers. So she's one of the only heat smashes in the game, or maybe the only one, that gives you a very, very big heal off of using your heat smash. So you sacrifice, you don't get plus frames, you are -6. So it's still safe, but you sacrifice normal plus frames for a big heal, which is pretty cool. And note the range. Like this range, basically a projectile, like very, very good range, especially for whip punishing. So that's June in heats. Nothing too crazy, pretty simple character in heats. In terms of punishment, I'll go over her punishment really quick. We have the best 10-frame punish in the game, in my opinion, with up forward 1. You do lose HP, but 36 damage. And at the wall, you do some disgusting stuff with this. You can get like 60 damage if this hits, because it wall splats. So pretty insane. If you don't want to lose the health for some reason, you can just do 1-2. I don't see why you would though. You pretty much all. It's worth losing the HP for this. Because think about it, with the knockback, you can just hold back 1+2 and just heal it all immediately too. So very, very good 10-frame punish. Her 12-frame is 2-1-4. Not the greatest. Back frame, or her 13-frame is back 4-2. Or 1+2 if you want to go into heats. I usually go for the 1+2 option. 14-frame is just 3. No reason to really go for that over the 13-frame. Basically, you'll be using up forward 1 if you want damage. It does more damage than pretty much all the other options. If you don't mind losing the HP, generally I like to always use that one until 15-frame, which is, she doesn't have a 15-frame launcher, which is like kind of her weakness. You just do down back 1+2. 45 damage at 15-frame, and then you launch your opponents at 16-frame with the down forward 2. For while standing punishment, 11-frame is while standing 4. Pretty interesting tool there. While standing for 12-frame, we have while standing, what is it? 1-1. Hold forward to go into stance, you get some cool mix-ups there. And then we do 14-frame is her while standing 3, which is her launcher. So she does have a 14-frame launcher that you can get combos out of. So that's going to be the June guide. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe the video for more guides like this, and I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.